Good morning. My name is Greg Wittman, and I have been asked to share with you a few thoughts of stewardship today. I'd like to start with this. You cannot not live in the presence of God. You are totally surrounded by God all of the time and everywhere. That quote by Richard Rohr mostly sums up how I feel when I am at David's United Church of Christ. It wasn't always that way, though. At first, when I transferred to David's UCC from another church, I was wrestling whether or not I should return to my roots as a Catholic. Something happened that day, though, that changed my thoughts on that pretty quickly. I was standing in the fellowship hall after the service, shortly after I had been coming to David's, wondering whether or not I was ready to sign up for the new members class. Suddenly, I was punched in the back rather sharply. I turned around only to find Marion Getz standing there with her hands on her hips, looking rather sternly at me. I said, "What was that?" And she said, "I just punched you." And I said, "Yes, and why was that?" She said, "You didn't even bother to hug me." I slowly and cautiously held out my hand and said, "Hi, my name is Greg Wittman." She refused to shake my hand and instead embraced me with a huge hug. All 94 pounds worth of her was hugging me. You cannot not live in the presence of God. You are totally surrounded by God all of the time and everywhere. Shortly after that time, I found myself saying yes to Pastor Dave Long Higgins one more time. I was asked to be the expectant Advent donkey during the children's sermon during Advent and crawl slowly on my hands and knees down the aisle as I was waiting for Advent to be over so we could get on with Christmas. As soon as the kids in the congregation heard me say, "Oh, hello, wasn't expecting to see you," the laughter started, and 6-year-old Kendall Carter came and jumped on my back for a donkey ride. During that same time period was when I started shaking Kendall's brother's hand, Aiden. Every time I saw him, we would shake hands incessantly. We couldn't stop. You've seen it all. After doing that for several years and receiving several speeding tickets from Aiden while walking down the hallway too fast at church, he started saying "stapled" every time we shook hands. We were stapled together and we couldn't stop. His huge, infectious grin and laughter stole my heart. During the following years, as Aiden started to look a little bit more like an adult, I was asked to be buddies with he and Ben Zerby while going through Pack 56, parents and kids together, 5th and 6th grade. During a conversation I had with Aiden as part of one of our Pack 56 exercises, I asked him to name a time when he became frustrated with his family or friends or teachers. He thought carefully and said, "Oh, no time. I don't become frustrated with my family or friends." As I pressed him further, I realized he was telling me the truth. He really didn't. I am continually left with the ever so grateful feeling that I am so happy I got to be friends with Aiden Carter. You cannot not live in the presence of God. You are totally surrounded by God all of the time and everywhere. My wife, Natalie, and I live 35 minutes away from David's church. It's not always easy to get here, but we make the effort and the drive because we love what this place represents in all of its diversity, its messiness, its ministry within the community and the greater church and the world. And the love we develop here keeps us coming back. Having a sense of belonging to this church community has been one of the things that has caused me to say yes to things like helping with PAC 56, Confirmation, Board for Christian Growth, the Understanding Project, Under the Stars Homeless Ministry, Consistory, Evangelism Committee, Music Ministry, Children's Sermons, Care Ministry Team, Prayer Team, countless other tasks and things that I just can't seem to say no to over the past 20 years I've been a member here. I feel called to jump in and do whatever I can to use and grow my gifts that I am blessed to have. It's the least I can do. I love this place and the many friendships and bonds I have formed here with so many of you. You are my family. So, David's UCC members should have received a letter from the Stewardship Committee in November, and we are asking you to please carefully consider making a pledge for 2021 and turn in the pledge card that they was provided in the letter. And you can talk to the church if you need another one. When members are able to make a pledge, it helps us to develop a budget and to know the baseline support we have to work with. You see, stewardship is about being grateful and responsible recipients of the gifts we receive from God. When we are good stewards, we show our gratitude to God by giving back financially and with our gifts of our time and talents. It also means being good stewards of God's creation, to take care of our environment, families, communities, and the wider world. In short, good stewardship is about recognizing our blessings and sharing them for the mission of Christ's church. Please take time during this season and this unusually extraordinary time that we find ourselves in to prayerfully consider how you can use and grow your gifts and talents to build this church family and make this a place where you cannot not live in the presence of God because you are totally surrounded by God all of the time and everywhere. Thank you.